What's up, y'all? So my journey started in the summer of me going into my junior year. I'm hanging out with my friend Bomb at his house, and he asked me a question that will forever change the course of my life. And it was so random and off the wall, it really caught me off guard, you know. He said, "Yo, Colin, you think you would cut my hair?" And I'm like, "What? What you talking about? Like, I don't cut hair. I don't know how to cut hair. You know, why you asked me to cut your hair?" He said, "Well, I have these clippers right here, and my mom usually cut my hair, but she's not home today, and you know, you think you would do it?" And I say, yeah, I'll give it a try, but I really don't know what I'm doing, you know. And so this was before YouTube, so there was nothing for us to watch, you know. And so we go on the internet and we look up how to cut hair, and this was before Google. And so I'm reading the instructions, and it's totally in a different language, you know. We totally lost, we don't know what it's talking about. And so we're like, man, let's just go for it, man. I cut your hair, you cut my hair. It's summertime, we got nothing to lose. And this is in Sacramento, so it's triple digits. We sitting outside, it's hot, we cutting each other's hair. It's very uncomfortable, you know. You sweating, the hair stuck to your skin. It's just uncomfortable. But even then, in that moment, I found some type of like enjoyment doing that, you know. It was new to me, it was different, and it was fun. And so after that, we go swimming, and I see all the lines and the mistakes that were in his haircut, and man, it was bad. It was terrible, man. But the crazy thing is, the haircut he gave me was actually better than the haircut I gave him, and I'm the one that became a barber. And so a few weeks later, it was my birthday in August, and my mom asked me, "Yo, what you want for your birthday?" And I'm a pretty simple guy, so I really never asked for too much. And I just told her, "You think you give me a pair of clippers?" So I cut my own hair, and she kind of looked at me crazy, and she's like, "All right, I'll get you a clipper." It's because the barber across the street by our apartment, he just could never get my hair right, man. No matter what I told him, maybe I didn't know how to explain it, or he just couldn't get it right. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm paying him to screw up my hair when I could screw up my hair myself, you know. So when I got the clipper, I started cutting my hair, and I'm completely lost, you know, because there's nothing for me to learn from. So I'm figuring stuff out just solely on my imagination. But it was a terrible cut, you know, just a bad cut. And so I know I needed some more practice, but you know, hair grow out. For me, you know, I get a haircut once a month, so I know I needed more practice. And it's a bunch of little kids in my apartments, so I was thinking maybe I cut their hair. And so instead of me saying, "Yo, let me practice on your hair," because that sounds bad, and so I say, "Yo, I'll give you a free haircut. You know, go ask your mom, I'll give you a free haircut." And so I started doing that, and from doing that, I started picking up new ideas and new rules on cutting hair. And after a while, I stopped asking them, and they started asking me. And so that's how I knew I was starting to get better at it. And even some of my friends from high school started asking me to cut their hair. And so I'm sitting outside in front of my apartment cutting hair, and it was just really fun. You know, I had a lot of fun doing that. I never charge anybody because it was like a hobby for me. I would gladly cut your hair. It was fun, you know. And so a few years later, I graduated out of high school, and we moved to San Jose, California. And I went to San Jose State, and I majored in business finance. You know, I'm young, I'm ambitious, I'm driven, I'm excited to learn about business, you know, because I've always had an interest for business. I wanted to open up my business one day. I just didn't know in what. And so a couple years later, in my junior year, this was during the economic crisis and, you know, the housing crash. So the economy was bad, and so our school had a budget cut, and so they were trying to rush students out of school, you know, hurry up and finish so we can get the next crowd in. And so after a while, I didn't really feel like school anymore. It felt like a business, and that's all it is, you know. School really didn't promise you anything, and they really don't guarantee you anything. And you know, I learned more on my own than I ever did from school. And school only taught me how to memorize a bunch of stuff really well, but never really learned. School killed my creativity, and it really didn't teach me to think, you know. So I was losing my passion for school. And you know, I'm hanging out at my friend's house, and he has a whole barber set up in his garage. and I'm sitting there watching them cut hair, and I'm thinking to myself like, yo, I do this for free and I enjoy it. You know, I really have a good time doing it, and I never thought that maybe this is a possibility for a career, you know. And so the idea was stuck with me for a few days, and it bugged me because I'm like, dude, this is what I really enjoy doing. Why am I not doing this? Why am I in school, you know, being miserable, you know? So the idea was planted in my head, and it was tough, you know, because society says that if you drop out of school, if you don't go to school, then you're a loser and you're a failure, you know. But not only that, you know, being grown up in an Asian culture, you know, my mom and dad sacrificed a whole lot to come to America to give my sister and I an opportunity at life, you know, and education was our route. You know, so for me to think that was crazy. You know, I'm going completely against the grain. So one day my parents is sitting in the living room hanging out, and I'm like, yo, I gotta tell them, man, like, you know, this gonna be tough, but I gotta tell them. So I go over, I tell them, I say, you know, I'm losing my interest for school. I just really don't enjoy going to school anymore, and I really don't see myself working in corporate America. I can't do it. And I remember the look on my parents' face, and they just looked so sad and so hurt and so worried. And you know, I wasn't sure if they were disappointed in me or not, but man, it was tough seeing my mom's face. She seemed so sad, and I'm like, Mom, just give me a chance and just be patient with me. Just give me a chance to take this shot, you know. Just give me one chance. And so after I talked to them and they gave me the green light, man, I was pumped. And I didn't look back. I signed up for barber college that following week. And at the time, you know, I was in trouble, so I didn't have a car to get around. So I caught the bus, and I took the bus every day to school. I was always the first one to class, and my barber friends can vouch for me. You know, the course is 1,500 hours, and I finished the course in one of the fastest possible time you can finish. And so after that, I go to this barber shop and I try to get a seat there, and the shop owner asked me, what's your plan? And I told him I plan on working here for about 2 years, and after that I like to open up my own spot. And you know, I'm not sure if he took me serious or not, because a lot of people talk but don't really follow through. And so, you know, I got the spot and I worked there for 2 years, and I saved up every dollar while all my friends was buying cars, you know, getting fitted, new clothes, new shoes, and all this. You know, I'm putting my money away. And exactly 2 years later, I was ready to make the move, and I told the owner it's time for me to start my own shop. You know, so after that, I opened up Concept Barbershop, and it's been truly a blessing. Every day I go to work, and I thank God. And sometimes it still hits me like, dang, man, I'm going to work. I'm going to my barbershop. You know, the best thing about owning your own shop, man, is no matter what I do today, I know I can't get fired. And if I want to paint my walls pink, tomorrow it'll be pink, you know. So I feel truly blessed, and I've learned so much. You know, I feel like I'm living the ultimate American dream. You know, my parents made a bunch of sacrifice for us to come here, and you know, I took the opportunity that was given me, and I made something out of myself. So I feel very, very blessed for that. And now my parents look at me, and they're proud and they're happy, and I'm happy. I'm happy I went with my heart, follow my dreams. You know, it's been truly a great journey. I remember when I got my barber license, and I'm sitting there cutting, and it hits me, and I'm like, dang, man, I'm really doing this. Like, it started out as just a hobby, something I did on the side just for fun, and I turned that into a career. I turned that into something I pay my bills with. You know, so I was happy, man. And for me to be able to have the opportunity to open up my own shop, man, it's hard to explain the feeling, you know. But once you have a taste of the freedom, you can never go back. Like, I can never go back to working in 9 to 5, man. Once you have that taste of freedom, you'll never go back, and it's been truly a blessing, man. And I want to thank all my friends that, you know, in the beginning, that allowed me to practice on their hair, because, you know, they knew that I didn't know how to cut hair at all, but they were willing to sit in the chair and let me cut their hair. That's crazy to me. you know. And but if it wasn't for them, you know, I wouldn't have developed my barbering skills. It probably would have ended right there.